Let's grow a garden. This will be our location. Let's grab a spade and get started. Dirt in my coffee makes it taste better. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of this fence. Just don't need it right now. Outline the garden later when we're done here getting everything tilled. Since real men dig their garden by hand, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start turning soil with the spade. Family's outside with me, including the cat, so we might have some guest appearances today. But anyway, what's that, honey?
A couple squirrels.
Yeah, a couple squirrels. Yeah, I'm in a squirrel family. Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to get this soil good and loosened up and get the grass turned. That's kind of my main goal here. You know, the soil of a man's heart is stonier. Another piece of trash buried in the yard. Deep in the yard. Yeah. Yeah.
Dad, what is in there?
I don't know.
I'm so excited.
Are ya? Are we digging for treasure? Oh. Cool. Yeah.
It's a monster truck.
So I'm finished digging the garden. Gonna go in and eat some dinner, and then I'll come back out here in a little bit. I'm gonna make a raised bed here with radishes and carrots is what's gonna go there. And then I'm gonna make some hills in the back there for my cucumbers. And then at the end I'll mix garden soil in all the areas where I'm gonna be planting. I'm also gonna have some tomatoes in the back there by the cucumbers. But I'm gonna wrap this up just for now and we'll come back out later. Done eating dinner now. I'm back outside. I'm gonna start working on this raised bed for the radishes and carrots, and then I'm gonna make about 5 hills for the cucumbers. So I gotta lug in some dirt. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now.
Whoa! Look, there's a walk. Let's go inside.
I started by creating a walk path here,
Look, there's.
as me and my son are
Daddy,
demonstrating. And I'm gonna create a little walk path here too.
Let's go.
And this will
on
be
this
the raised
walk.
bed.
Look, there's a. Let's go inside by a blue smush. Walking maybe. Uh-oh. What's there? What's a blue car? Car. Oh, yeah. That thing's floating there. Yeah, but not sure though.
What do you think of Dad's garden? Is it cool? He said it's way cool. So I got a walk path on both sides of the raised bed. You can see I can very easily reach to the middle of the raised bed. If I come over to the other
I
side,
won't let that look on the soil.
same thing. So you can easily, pull vegetables or weed or whatever you need to do.
Dad,
You
look
should
at
be
this
able to
one.
reach to the center of the bed without having to struggle or bend over too far. That's the general idea.
This one.
So next I'm gonna go find some dirt and start dumping it on here and make the bed a little bit higher.
Look, there's a path. Let's go inside and bed.
I'm gonna grab my trusty blue pail and I'll see y'all here in a little bit.
Wow, look at that.
Yep, we're gonna go get another bucket.
Wow. Dad, you don't want that?
Okay, we got what looks like a raised bed now. I'm gonna go ahead and start adding garden soil. I'm gonna mix it in the raised bed. And then on the other side too, where I'm gonna grow the cucumbers and the tomatoes. And we're just gonna add it in. So it's a pretty big bag of garden soil. Let's open it on up, shall we? Why not? That garden soil looks nice and rich. Okay, here we go. that looks pretty good. And over here, I don't want to use it all. Gotta save some for the cucumbers and the tomatoes. You know, I might even take just a little bit more on the end where I'm going to do the radishes. There we go. And the tomatoes, I'm just going to use the garden soil for the tomatoes and the cucumbers, because there's no sense in having the garden soil in areas where I'm not going to be growing vegetables. There's going to be 5 cucumber hills here on the end. Three tomato plants. I'm just kind of picking the spots where the plants are eventually going to be. Okay, I'm going to set a little bit of this garden soil off to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and work this into the soil. I'm going to mix the soils together. Now let's take the back of a rake and you use it to level your garden bed. That's level enough. Now over here is where I'm going to make 5 hills for the cucumbers. I got a little bit more soil here. So this is kind of where the cutoff is, where the tomatoes start. So I don't know, we'll just make it look like a 5-side of dice. Let's do that. There's a hill. There's a hill. The remainder of my garden soil here. Kind of ran out of soil for this middle hill. That's alright though. Let's use some of this garden soil. That's what it's there for. Ideally, your Cucumber hills should be about a foot tall, although by the time I plant, I doubt these will still be that tall. Hey, that's pretty good. So I'm just gonna make some neat little piles here. Kind of mix the soil up a little bit. Especially in here in the center, that looks pretty black still. There we go. Alrighty. I think that looks pretty good. Well, it's almost nighttime, and here's what I have. Raised bed for radishes and carrots. That's where the tomatoes will go. And 5 hills for the cucumbers. I'll see you all next week when we'll be planting some vegetables. So it's April 26th, still in the midst of home isolating due to the coronavirus pandemic. Let's go ahead and plant some root vegetables. So I live in Iowa, and it's definitely time to get the radishes and the carrots in the ground. So I'm going to start with the radishes by making rows that are 1/2 inch deep. Let's get started. So I'm just going to take the corner of this cardboard and start making rows. You could just as easily use a corner of a 2x4. Get these rows into the ground here. And since it's a raised bed, I'm going to put the rows fairly close together. Yeah, that looks good. Do one more row. Crimson Giants get really big, and they need a deep turned soil to grow well. Lots of nutrients. That's about all the Crimson Giants I want to do this year. Next I'm going to put my cherry bell seeds in. And my radish garden's going to mostly be cherry bell. Try to give them at least a couple inches of space. Alrighty. That's good. I'm going to gently smooth the soil back over and water evenly. Just kind of marking the center of the raised bed so I can keep from mixing the carrots and the radishes. I need to find another stick here. There. That should be good enough. Now I'm gonna water. That looks pretty even. There you have it. I'll show you what those look like once they sprout. Here's the carrot half of the bed. And just like with radishes, we're going to make rows that are 1/2 inch deep. So I'm going to, once again, put them fairly close together because we're doing a raised bed concept. So let's start making rows. What a beautiful day, this April 26th. Yet again, I'm going to use my trusty box corner to make 1/2 inch deep rows. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my carrot seeds. First, I'm gonna plant my kaleidoscope blend. And kaleidoscope carrots are just multicolored carrots. Now, carrot seeds are really small, so it's almost impossible to plant them one at a time. You have to kind of roll them between your thumb and your pointer into the rows as thinly as possible, and then come back later and thin them, which I will show you once the sprouts are up. I'm just barely rolling out as few as I can between my fingers into these rows, and so far I would say I'm doing pretty good, keeping it thin. The last 3 rows I'm saving for regular carrots. Just your basic old orange ones. That's good for the kaleidoscope seeds. Alright, so I got my regular orange carrot seeds here. I'm going to give them a whirl. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to go ahead and gently pat that soil back over and evenly water. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to do something else. It's May 3rd and I'm starting to get some radish sprouts. You can see them coming out of the ground there. They're just little yet. Alright everybody, it's May 15th. Let's find out what's happening in the garden today. The radish sprouts seem to be thriving well. They're starting to get their true leaves, as you can see here. So some of them are a little bit too close together, like these two for example. You got this small dinky one growing right up on this nice healthy one. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that one right out of the garden. They say you should thin your radishes to at least 2 inches apart. And this would be a decent time to go through and actually thin them. Here's a couple smaller sprouts coming right up on top of each other. So, yoink. Anyway, doing pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and water the radishes and give them a nice even drink with my trusty budget watering can. I like to make sure it's a even watering. Gotta get this side a little bit. There. That looks good to me. I'll give you another shot of them true leaves. These are your sprout leaves, and these are the actual true leaves right here. They'll get a lot bigger as the radishes grow. The carrots are sprouting, although from this view I doubt you can hardly tell. So I'm going to try to get right up on a row so you can see what the little sprouts look like. Okay, so here we go. These dinky little green things here are the carrot sprouts. That's what they look like. Here's another handful of them. Pretty hard to see, you know, but that's what they are. Anyway, the carrots get 2 thinnings, and the first one takes place when they're about 4 inches tall. You thin to a thumb width part, which means you just, it's basically like a 1/2 inch. You just pull them out till they have a 1/2 inch space. Then there's a second thinning, once they get bigger. And during that thinning, you actually end up with some baby carrots. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get some water on these bad boys. Carrots are very easy to grow. They require a little maintenance. Looks like I'll be doing some weeding here soon. A lot of foreign plants growing. I pull most of my weeds by hand. That's pretty evenly watered. So I'll get you another close-up on these carrot sprouts now that the ground's been watered. So there you have it. Well, it's May 19th. I figured today we would plant some cucumber seeds. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so I got a couple different varieties of cucumbers I'm going to try out this year. They're both pickling cucumber varieties, just different brands. Now with cucumbers, you definitely want to wait until the frosts are all done for the year. Let's say here in Iowa, we shouldn't be having any more frost at this point. Cucumbers don't grow well in the really cold temperatures. So I'm going to go ahead and in each hill I'm going to plant, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 seeds. And I'm going to plant them 1/2 inch deep. I'm just going to push them right down into the soil. Cover them up with a little bit of dirt. With this variety, I'm just going to do 4 in each hill because you're supposed to thin it to 2 of the strongest plants once they're sprouted. Now I'm going to take my other variety and come to the other side of the garden there. With this side I'm going to do 5 seeds in each hill because you're supposed to thin to the 3 strongest plants with this variety. Here again this variety says to plant them 1/2 inch deep, so I'm just going to push them down that far. Or create a little hole first and then put it in there. And then cover it. That would probably be better because this soil's a little bit tougher. little bit of water. I'm not going to water them too much because the soil is still pretty damp. So I'm just going to make sure that they get a little drink with my trusty Econo watering pail. And there you have it. Wow, that was extremely difficult. Okay, let's go ahead and meet with each other once they sprout. It's May 20th. I just got done with a home workout and I come out to the garden and noticed my carrots are starting to sprout their true leaves. Let's have a look. You can kind of see them a little bit there. Really small yet. There's some over here. It's kind of coming out a little bit. Right now the sprouts are maybe an inch or a little bit more tall. You can see the little true leaves sprouting out of the center there. Pretty sweet. We're gonna head out and start thinning them here pretty soon once they get to about roughly 3 to 4 inches tall. Catch you later. Hi everybody.
Hi everybody.
It's Memorial Weekend and I thought I would plop some tomato plants in the ground. So let's go ahead and get plopping. So this will be the planting site for the tomatoes. It's probably better if it's planted later at night here like this, so you don't have the hot sun beating down on them. That way they can kind of adjust. Take my trusty spade here, and I'm going to dig 3 reasonable sized holes. They say that deep digging's good for tomato plants, so I'm trying to get down there a little ways. I bought 3 different varieties of tomatoes. I have a Cherokee Purple, Genuine Beefsteak, and a German Queen. These are all slicer varieties. I like the big slicer tomatoes. Everybody's out riding their Harleys for Memorial Weekend, so it's a little noisy. Memorial Weekend around here equals lots of Harley driving. So the first one I'm going to plant is my Genuine Beefsteak tomato. I'm going to go ahead and stick that in here. It's my more expensive plant, so I think I'm going to pick a spot. In fact, I'll come around to the other side. I'll pick a spot here where it's going to get most of the sunlight. I want my best plant to shine the most. You should take and break your root up a little bit. You don't want to just plunk it in there exactly like it comes out of the plastic. You want to kind of break your roots up a little bit. like so. I'm just gently breaking the roots up, freeing some of those roots out there. That's probably good. I don't want to get too carried away. Now that's pretty deep. I don't know, I might be thinking a little too deep. I'm gonna fill some of the dirt back in. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna go with that. So we're gonna pull some of this dirt back in here. What a fun Memorial Weekend thing to do, is to plant your tomato plants.
It really is.
I'm gonna go with that. Alrighty. Oh, I about took my carrots out. Alrighty. If my carrots were people, they would have just shit their pants. Let's see, so it comes down to the Cherokee Purple or the German Queen. I am going to put the Cherokee Purple in this one. Here again, we're going to break the root up a little bit. Let those roots be free. They want to be free. They're just like people, they want to be free. Once you get the dirt around the plant, you want to pat it down a little bit, but you really, really don't want to pack it too hard. Leave it kind of loose. All right, we got our last one. The German Queen. The German Queen plant's kind of a interesting looking plant. I've never really seen a tomato plant look so different. I definitely need some more soil for this one. Otherwise it'll be low riding. In fact, just move all this free dirt over there. I don't know how well you can really see it, but I'm just below the dirt level. So I'd say the plant is buried maybe an inch below the dirt level, the surface level there. Go ahead and fill it in with dirt. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and put some tomato cages around these plants. Pretty easy stuff. Tomato cages come in different sizes. This is one of the bigger cages. So they're a little more expensive. We'll go ahead and put the biggest cage here around this one because it'll probably get the most sun, so it'll probably grow the biggest. It's Got 3 spokes. You just force them into the ground around the tomato plant. You want to get them down there a little ways in case a storm comes blowing by. I think I might go just a little bit deeper even. That seems pretty firm. I don't think a storm's gonna blow that way. Let's grab another one and keep going. My tomato cages are well used, so they look a little gnarly, but I'm not too worried about it. Some of these cages are probably going on their 5th year. Find the right spot where it'll poke down in the soil. Good. Fortunately, on this side of the garden, I have a lot of stony stuff in the soil. Makes it hard to work stuff into it. Pick up my trash here and give it a little drink of water. And that's pretty much it. I'm just watering the base of the tomato plant a little bit. Give them something to drink. And that's it. And here's what the garden looks like. Those tomato plants are going to get really tall, come up over the tops. Still waiting on the cucumbers to come up. Radishes are thriving well. Little carrot sprouts are coming along. It's May 27th. Let's see what's happening in the garden today. I see our radishes are looking like they're about ready to be harvested. You can see them sticking out there. The top's coming out through the ground. This one here is definitely ready. So, and there are quite a few of them in here that could come out, getting pretty big. General rule of thumb is to harvest once they're about 1 inch in diameter. So there's quite a few ready to be harvested today. When I'm harvesting, I don't do anything special, but just yank it right up out of the ground, pull it out straight, and there you have yourselves a radish. Ooh, that one's nice. I think there's going to be quite a few of them coming out of the old garden today. We've been having lots of rain and they swell up pretty fast when it's raining that much. Anyway, I think there's going to be quite a few, so let's time lapse this. Like some ants got to that one. Rats. There you have it. 17 cherry bell radishes, all about 1 inch in diameter. Took me about a month to grow this variety. Now the Crimson Giants are going to take maybe a week longer before they're ready, and you harvest those at about 2 inches in diameter. See, a quarter is about 1 inch in diameter. So they're very close. Well, thank you for taking this journey with me, growing some radishes. It's been about a month since I planted carrots. And as you can see, they're about ready for their first thinning. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through the journey today of thinning your carrots. They're almost 3 to 4 inches tall, which indicates it's time. So I'm going to go ahead, thin them to about a thumb width apart. Take this spot for example. There's a pretty decent cluster there. So I'm going to go ahead, pull a couple of those out of there, thin to about that distance. Here's another pretty big cluster. Now I've chose to do this on a day when the soil is already damp. They come out of the ground easier and you disturb the surrounding plants less. Well, let's go ahead and speed this thing up. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. pulled quite a few so far. Also, when you're thinning your carrots, you want to not just focus on spacing, but you want to look to pull out some of the more scrawny plants. And that's about the right space on your first thinning. Once all the radishes are up, I'm going to go ahead and plant carrots in their place for a second wave of carrots. Just got done with my home workout amidst this coronavirus breakout, and I thought I would show you guys these cucumber sprouts over here. It's May 29th today, and you can see I got a couple little sprouts coming out of my little hill there. Here's kind of an ugly deformed sprout that came up. There's a couple more sprouts. As an added bonus, I thought I would show you what one of these Crimson Giants looks like. Really big one. Oh, I really gotta grab this one by the stalk. So as you can see, these ones got just a little bit bigger in size. Have sort of a crimson color as described. It's June 4th, and my cucumber plants are starting to sprout their true leaves. It's June 20th, and you can see that the carrots are thriving really well. Still spaced at a thumb width apart. So we want to go ahead and do our second thinning now. Bring them a little bit closer to 3 inches apart. It's been a little less than a month since I last thinned them, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out here and show you what it looks like. So that's about the right size for the second thinning. This is a purple variety here. I planted a kaleidoscope blend of carrots. So let's go ahead and get started. Another rule of thumb is you want to try to pick the scrawnier ones. It's sometimes hard to do though, because in order to get that 3-inch spacing, sometimes you have to pull the bigger one, I've noticed. But I really do try to get the scrawny one. These are pretty scrawny. This one's more edible. So I'm definitely going to come out of it with some baby carrots today. Well, shoot, let's go ahead and time lapse this. I think that looks pretty good. Once I'm finished, I give them a little drink of water. Even though the ground was already moist. Just because when you're pulling them, you disturb the surrounding roots a little bit. So I feel like any of the ones that got a little disturbed will reset once they have this water. Now that it's all said and done, I'm pretty close to that 3-inch spacing. It's not perfect, but then again, it doesn't really have to be, as long as you're close. And as you can see, the carrot bed is looking quite a bit thinner. But now they can grow to their full size. And I walked away with a pretty decent pile of baby carrots. Little snack-sized carrot bites. So there you have it. Looking pretty good July 1st. It's July 8th, and I'm actually starting to get my first real cucumbers. There's a couple over here on this side. And this one's getting a little bit bigger. July 12th, and it is a special day today because it is the first day I'm going to harvest cucumbers out of my garden. Let's go have a look at that. So as you can see here, I have some cucumbers that are ready to be harvested. And the general rule of thumb with pickling cucumbers is you harvest them when they're about 6 inches long. There's really nothing fancy that I do. I just take a pair of scissors and, being careful not to clip the vine, I cut really close to the cucumber. And that's really all there is to it. That's nice looking. That'll be perfect for pickling. It's not too bad. This one's a little bit smaller, but it'll do. And I might even cut a couple of these little guys down. What the hell? Why not? And here's today's catch. I got, looks like 8 cucumbers here. Not a bad pickle hustle considering it's my first harvest of the year. Not too shabby. Looks like we got just enough to make a batch of pickles. Well, it's July 18th, and I do believe that these carrots are ready. So let's go ahead and yank a few of them suckers out of the ground. You can see the carrots are getting pretty thick and really tall. Some of them have went to flower, which means they're basically inedible. So those ones aren't going to be very good to eat. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a little drink of water here before we get started. This kind of wets the ground, loosens it up a little bit, makes them easier to pull out of the ground. And just probably pull up a row today and leave the rest for later. They store perfectly fine in the ground. And if you have trouble pulling them up at all, sometimes you need this little guy. I have problems every so often with the tops breaking off and the root getting left in the ground. So that's what I use that shovel for. Alright, let's get started. So in order to harvest, grab really close. Make sure you grab all of them. Grab really close to the root, pull straight up. And there we have a mighty fine looking purple or red carrot of edible size. We'll set that off to the side. So just grab, pull straight up. There's a carrot. These ones are a little small, but that's alright. You're going to get different sizes. Some are going to be ready, some aren't. It's okay. This one will probably be good. Yep. This one's being stubborn though. Gotta wiggle it a little. Whew. Man, that is a really big purple one. It's kind of hard to tell right now because it's covered in dirt. Well, no problems yet with them breaking off. That one's a nice long skinny one. This one's going to be a full-size run. All different shapes, sizes, and colors. That one's not going to be ready for sure. We'll just leave that one behind. This one looks like it could be done. Oh, yeah, that one's not too bad. Long skinny one. This one I definitely want to get out of the ground. There we go. Oh, and it ended up being a short stubby one. Really oddly shaped. Now I'm going to take the hose and give them a little rinse. These purple ones are especially dirty. And here's today's catch. What a beautiful harvest. I got some tomatoes out in the garden that are ready to come out, among some other things. So in order to get those out, today we are going to need some coffee and a bowl and a pair of scissors. Alright, let's go get some tomatoes. One of my German queens is ready to come out. You can kind of see there though it snapped its own vine because it got too heavy. So sometimes it's good with these large varieties like this to stake the tomato up as it's getting big so it doesn't do that. I also have some regular beefsteak tomatoes that are ready to come out today. Little teeny tiny one down there. Getting plenty of reds. Started getting my first reds probably just after the middle of July. Now in order to remove the tomato, I don't do anything fancy. You can see the stem right there. Let's just go ahead and take our scissors and cut really close to the tomato. Ooh, this one's got a really tough stem. I just grabbed 3 of them today because the rest of them need to ripen a little more. That's our German Queen, and these are the 2 beefsteaks. Now the German Queen probably could have gotten bigger if the vine wouldn't have snapped, but that's still a pretty good sized tomato. It's at least a pound or more. Still waiting on my Cherokee purples. So I pulled some stuff out of the garden today, and I thought I'd let you have a look at these Cherokee purples. This one's still a little green. Anyway, here's one that's fully ripened. That's kind of what it looks like. And they are delicious. So it's the beginning of October now, and our first frost advisory is in effect for tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this garden up out of the ground. Now as you can see, I just have the carrots and the tomatoes left. I had pulled the cucumbers about a month earlier because they were done. So I think I'm going to leave the carrots in the ground because they're a little bit more frost tolerant. But let's go ahead and get these tomatoes up. I'm going to make this quick. Pick the tomatoes, set them on the windowsill, throw this shit in the compost bin, and then before the ground freezes, work some compost into the soil for next year. Well, that's it. An entire year of gardening. Wow, that was crazy. More to come soon. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all later.